Hi guys. Hello everyone. It's been a minute. Let me just pin this post. Just give me a second. I still need to get used to this thing and how to post it. But anyways, welcome. And I am so excited for everyone that's joining on. So come on in. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Raquel Walters and I am a two-time best-selling author. I can't even believe I'm saying that. I am a career and relationship strategist. I consult typically millennial women and men who are working in corporate and who wants help really to navigate the workplace, whether it is that they're looking to better position themselves so that they can get a better paying job, like a promotion. They want to build more meaningful relationships on the job with their coworkers and with their managers and with their superiors, really, their executives, and they want to be memorable. They want to stand out when they're in meetings. They want to learn how to use their voice to speak up with confidence, to add value, to add meaningful value and information, and contribute and collaborate in their place of work. I also help people who are also looking not only just rising in the corporate ladder or climbing that corporate ladder in their 9 to 5 job, but those who are also wanting to start a side hustle, like starting a business, so to get in that extra income. So that is me. I also have a background as a medical social worker and therapist. And it's just been amazing, the decade that I have been working in the healthcare field, helping hundreds of patients and clients to navigate the workplace, to effectively communicate their wants and their needs, and how do they negotiate that, how do they find common ground, especially when they're on the job, how do they deal with depression, anxiety, how do they deal with everyday interpersonal relationship things such as family, friends, co-workers, managers, supervisors. How do they deal with life in general? So it's a pleasure to be able to be afforded to work with such amazing patients and to see results, to see impact. And I want to do the same for you here on this platform. I'm also on Facebook Live as well, Instagram. So I am double broadcasting at this moment. So tonight's topic is that I want to speak about how to acknowledge your fears and how to kick it, really. Because fear is something that we all battle with. Like, who can relate to battling with fear and allowing their fear to keep them stuck and keep them in a place where it doesn't allow them to make that action, to do what it is that they want to do? Like, how many of you guys, like, put a comment, say yes, put a one in the comment so that I can know, like, how many of you guys have been crippled by fear? Like, really sit down with that question and really reflect on it and think about your personal fear story. What we're going to talk about is fear in general, but I always want things to be relatable. So I want it to relate back to you, like my experiences, but also thinking about your personal fear story. So the first thing that I would say is that, listen, we all face fear. We all face fear. And I'm going to say it one more time. We all face fear. Fear is one of those things in life, just like change, that is constant. It is constant. It's always there. It's always there. And if we don't identify and learn how to dim its light or quiet it down, put it on mute, then it will forever take charge of our lives, right? It will forever dictate what we are going to be doing or what we will not be doing. It will forever put shackles onto us, It will forever keep us stuck if we listen to that fear. Now, fear is not always a bad thing. in my opinion, fear, a lot of times it means that, okay, you have an important decision to make, whether you're going to act or whether you're not going to act. So really think about that. Fear is not a bad thing, because I feel like people define fear, or we think of fear as in the negative, when fear really isn't a negative thing. It really isn't a negative thing. I want you to think back to when you had something happen to you where that inner critic, that voice is telling you that, you know what, maybe if you didn't go to that party, or maybe if you didn't, you didn't go to that meeting and say what you said, or, I told you that they would be, talking about you because you said this, or, those little inner critic voice. Hi, Sashreen. I would say eliminate, because if you dare or pause, you may go back and press play or turn it up. I would say eliminate. Yeah, eliminate fear, but fear, you can't just eliminate fear all together. I welcome the conversation. I personally, and throughout my experience and through working with my clients and my patients, I don't see that fear is easily eliminated, or if it can be eliminated, period. Because when you overcome fear, whatever that fear of that something is, it's something that it's another fear will come up. It's something that is contributed to our thoughts. And I'm going to get into thoughts and feelings a little bit later. But for now, I want you to think of a time in your life where, something happened, or you wanted to act on something and fear came in the way, or fear, which is usually the doubts telling you that you cannot do something, or if you do something, then a negative reaction or a negative circumstance will happen because of that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to think you to think of that. Like, for instance, for me, I remember when I was, studying back in graduate school. I graduated and it was time for me to take my state exam. I needed a license in order to practice the work of social work in New York. And I remember I was so overcome with fear that my voice, the thoughts in my mind were telling me, Raquel, what if you failed? What if you fail? What if you don't study enough? Do you think you are prepared? Do you think that you can handle this? Do you think that you really can help patients? Why did you go into the field of social work? Those are the things that fear will tell you. And my fear story, as far as my thoughts, may be a little bit different from yours. My inner critic, I call them the inner critic, may be different from yours. The point here I want to make is think back to a time when those fear stories for your personal experience came to came to you, and how did you deal with it? How did you handle it? I first want you to know that fear is something that we should all be embracing. Fear is something we should all be embracing, and I'm going to tell you why. So in your brain, at the back of your brain is more towards the back of your brain, the right part of your the right back of your brain. I don't know if that made sense. There is this what's called the amygdala that's there. And there's this area called the amygdala that's there that is typically responsible for emotional stimuli. And the biggest thing from that, the benefit, or some people may say it's not a benefit from the amygdala, is what they call the fight or flight. And I'm going to explain what that means. The amygdala, it's like the critter brain, the lizard brain, they call it, the where a lot of that inner critic comes from. There's different terminologies, but I'm going to just be using one. We're going to call it the lizard brain, or that inner critic that's behind right here where I'm holding my hand. the back of your brain. It's called the amygdala, and it's responsible for emotional stimuli. That's one of the responsibilities. There's other responsibilities of it, and it's mostly popularly known for what they call fight or flight. And as you know, we're human beings, but we are, you know, we are in this constant stage where we can be aggressive when needs be. Like, think of the animals. At the end of the day, we are animals as well, right? So think of an animal, like, say, think of a dog. And I'm not saying that we are dogs, but I'm just saying that that aggressive nature that that dog may have, we also have it. So for instance, let me bring it back down to, maybe you're walking on the street and you're walking alone, and it's probably late in the night, and you're hearing different sounds. It's probably you alone on the street, you're walking, and you know your fear response is like heightened, because you're like, oh my gosh, I hope all is well. I hope that there's nobody walking beside me or walking behind me or watching me trying to rob me, or let me hurry up and walk. And so your fear response is heightened. In that moment, say someone should creep up behind you and try to hold you up with a gun or something, that amygdala, that stimulus emotional response, will automatically click in. And if you have the opportunity to, the fight or flight response will kick in. So you will either start fighting your attacker who's trying to stick you up and rob you, or you're gonna flight, which is that flee, which you're gonna run, like run. And you'll be amazed how much time people will tell you when they're faced with that circumstances where they're in some sort of danger, that they're saying that, listen, I ran, that's the flight, I ran, and I don't remember like how in God's world I ran so fast. That's that flight response of coming from the amygdala, that it triggers down to the nervous system and to every area of your body, that will propel you to run really fast because you're trying to be safe. If you do fight, then that's that aggressive instinct, that aggressive survival mode, that survival nature that will automatically come out of you. That's why I use the reference as a dog as a reference before, or you can say, any other animal really, where you're going to be put in a position where you have to stand up for yourself and you have to fight, right? And I hope this makes sense. So when we're relating this back to fear and back to your fear story, it could be you're in a meeting at work and you want to use your voice and you want to speak up, but in that moment you're not feeling that confident, or you're thinking that your ideas probably be stupid, or your coworkers or your manager will be looking at you funny or probably laughing at you, or will say, well, that doesn't make sense. What value does that add to the workplace? Those thoughts are your own inner critics, your own fear story that you're telling yourself. And this does not mean that it's true. You're thinking it's negative, but what if what you have to say is of value? What if what you have to say is really, really appreciated? What if what you have to say will make that change in the workplace? Maybe what if that what you had to say is that key to making and implementing that change in the workplace, in terms of probably productivity, in terms of the work culture, in terms of getting more profits. You just never know. But in that moment, if you're tuning in only to your thoughts and you're rationalize it in your head, in your mind, that's your fear story, and it cripples you in that moment, because you're telling yourself all these negative things and you cannot justify those things to be true, because you did not speak up in that meeting. So you don't know if it's true, you don't know if it's of value, you don't know the response from the people in the room. You're telling yourself that fear story, and that's what makes you get crippled. That's what makes you get stuck. That's what makes you feel uncertain. That's what makes you feel like, what I have to say is not of value, so I'm just not going to speak up. I'm just going to sit back, fold my hands, and listen to everybody else, but I'm not going to say anything. And that, my friends, is what's going to, prevent you from making the changes in terms of speaking up, the behavior, the response, the action you hold back. So when I talk about how to acknowledge your fear and how to kick it, I'm going to talk about how to kick it after in a few minutes. But I want you to really, really focus on first, really asking yourself, when you're feeling that fear or that self-doubt, why am I thinking these things, right? Why am I thinking this? Is there any truth to this? Is this valid? Is this only in my head? Am I playing different scenarios of the outcomes and they're all negative? All of these things you have to ask yourself when you catch yourself doubting what it is that you are capable of saying and what you are capable of doing. Because it's not only just the voice, the speaking up, it's also the behavior that happens after you speak up. The behavior that happens after you say you're going to do something, whether you share it with the next person or not. Even if it's something that you're thinking in your mind, you can self-sabotage yourself. Right? That's another thing. You can self-sabotage yourself and talk yourself out of doing what it is that you want to do. You want to try on something new, like you want to probably start a business, or talk to your family or talk to your friends, or ask for mentorship, but the stories in your head, oh my gosh, this is a stupid idea. What am I thinking? I will never be able to do this. I'll be able to do that. I'll never be able to change careers. I'll never be able to get that job. I'll never be able to be in a meaningful and awesome relationship like my friends, like the next person. I'll never be able to earn more money. I mean, I can go on and on. I'll never be able to get healthier. I'll never be able to take vacations. I'll never be able to, I don't know. There's it's limitless, the thoughts. So I hope this is making sense. Like as I'm talking, you're thinking about your own personal fear stories that you tell yourself constantly, and the different ways you tell yourself about that fear of why it is that, and that doubt, I should say, of why it is that you're not capable, or why is it that you're not feeling good enough, or why is it that nobody is gonna get you or understand you, and you'll be looked at as a fool, as an idiot. So these are the things that I want you to get very, very serious about, starting to think about, because ultimately when it comes down to your fear story, it really is all about mindset. And like Sasharine was saying on the IG live, is that she is saying that she would eliminate fear. But the reason why I don't agree with eliminating fear is that I believe that you can acknowledge the fear, you can see the fear for what it is, overcome the fear with different questions, like some of what I just spoke about, really identifying what is this thought or the thoughts that is going through my mind. Is it justifiable? Is it facts? Is it just my own story? Is it negative? What if I say something? What are the potential outcomes? I want you to look at all of that, your fear story. Then I want you to look at the possibilities of the possible outcomes, because the outcomes does not always have to be negative. So that's where you're going to overcome. That's where you're going to overcome that fear story. But if you don't know how to identify your fear story, if you don't know how to acknowledge it, then you're not going to be able to act on despite the fear, despite the self-doubt, right? Despite not feeling confident, despite not knowing, after you take the first step, if that's being speaking up or the action part, whether that's the behavior really, or the implementation of something, whether you don't know what the outcome will be, whether it's going to be positive or negative. But I want to ask you, what if it is positive, what if, imagine it, once you take that leap of faith in terms of the fear of whatever you want to do, whether it is getting a new job, building more meaningful relationships, strategizing on the job, how it is that you're going to set yourself up in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years for a promotion, in the next 5 years to get more money, in the next 5 years to start and grow and scale a business, like in the next 5 years to get in a meaningful and healthy relationship, to get married, to have children, whatever it is, to grow your income, to invest. How you're gonna know if you don't acknowledge your fear story? And how you're gonna know if you don't go through, once you catch those fear stories, go through the possibilities of the outcomes? How do you know what the results may be if you really don't sit back, take stock, take inventory, and really analyze yourself? And I think that this is one of the problems, especially in our communities, where we weren't taught how to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings. And I didn't get much into feelings just now, but I'm gonna put it in the feelings in it, because the feelings is also a part of our sphere story. I remember growing up, we weren't really, and this is typical culture for my family, and also typically for Caribbean and Black Americans, and I'm speaking for myself, but we are not taught how to be self-aware. We really weren't taught that in school, and we weren't really taught that in our families. I don't know about your family, but I can speak for me, where it was hard for us to really self-identify our thoughts and our feelings and be able to share how we're feeling, despite our parents not really liking us speaking up. I know for me growing up, you would feel a certain way, or you will not agree with something, and all you were taught to do is that you should not say anything, you should not speak up. You have your parents, you should respect them, you should respect the adults, and you should be seen and not heard. And that was a part of my fear story growing up. And for a long time growing up, I typically would keep my comments to myself, or keep my stories to myself, or keep how I'm feeling to myself, and everything would be fine and dandy, and everything would be good and great, and I would not vocalize my thoughts and my feelings, because I was told, and I also was brought up to really not speak on stuff. And this happens a lot, especially in our Black communities, unfortunately. And if you're agreeing with me, please give me something in the comments, or a love, a like, or something, an emoji, because it's the truth, and a lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about this. We weren't taught how to be self-aware. And I'll tell you that the first step in overcoming any fears, not eliminating the fear, constantly overcoming the fear, is self-awareness. And it starts with your mind. It starts with you, not with the next person, not with your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your sister, your brother, your child, your friend, your coworker, your manager. It starts with you, because you are the one who is only going to be able to control your thoughts and your feelings and your behavior. Only you, nobody else. And only you are the one who knows in your mind what thoughts are really coming up. What thoughts are coming up, whether they're good or bad, positive or negative. Only you. So self-awareness is important. You have to learn how to identify your thoughts. And once you get a fear thought, and you have a fear story, and typical, like I said, it's negative, but we're going to flip that. We're going to reframe that and look at it as positive. Now, I'm not saying that it's everything that you're going to act on. But what I'm saying is that you're going to really think about, really think about the stories you've been telling yourself that's keeping you stuck, keeping you crippled, and keeping you really in shackles from taking the next level in your life. Too many of us are so talented, so talented, so knowledgeable, can help so much, can be of service to society, who can change our family's legacy, can build legacy for ourselves and for our family, can change the script, can rewrite the script. There's so many of us that are sitting on our talents and our skills and are wasting it. And then we look at the next person. We look at, social media is big now. We're looking at social media on Instagram, on Facebook, and we're reading about people. And, we're like, oh my gosh, she's doing this or he's doing this. I think I can do that too. And even if it's not that exact thing, but I know that I have gifts, I have talents, I have more to me. I'm more than just my job title. I am so creative. I like to do, building work. I like to paint. I like to sing. I like to make stuff with my hands. I like to fix cars. I'm so much more than a job title, but a lot of us hold ourselves stuck to that one job title. And even with that one job title, when we're at work, we don't look for different ways how we can grow both personally and professionally to constantly elevate ourselves and to innovate, and it's just sad. It's sad. And a lot of times, like I said, it starts with our own fear story. So we got to acknowledge the fear and kick it to the curb. That fear to the curb. So, in our fear story, you have to be able to identify it. And you have to believe in yourself without a doubt, even when there's nobody else believing you, that you are capable of more in your life. You are capable to level up in your job, in your life, in your finances, in your relationships, in your spirituality. You are capable of that. It doesn't matter what anybody else say. It doesn't matter. Because I can tell you 3.5 years ago, I was working in a job that was making me sick. Literally sick. And I wasn't happy. And I was constantly doing, I'm one of those overachievers. I'm just doing everything that I need to do. I'm seeing my patients, I'm getting the results, I'm getting impacts, and I'm just on a roll. But guess what? I had hit burnout. And I started to look around at my life, really. And I was like, so many years have passed, and I know that I'm making a difference in my patients' lives, but I'm just not feeling that fulfilled. I'm not feeling like I can wake up every day, put my feet on the ground, and that I could be looking forward to, helping people. Even though I was getting gratification at work from the changes, I just wasn't happy in the space that I was. And I knew in my gut that there was more for me to do in this life. There was so much more. There was so many, much more people that lives that I could transform and I could help. Bigger than who I was helping, the lives I was helping in the box that I felt that I was. And this is just a true moment for me. Maybe you're at a job, or maybe you're working someplace that you love it and you know that you can be there and you can thrive there. But for me, in that particular place that I wasn't able to thrive. If anything, I was just keeping it like right here, and there was no room for growth. So I was just right here. And so it really affected me, and I really had to sit back with myself and say, Raquel, what it is that you want? And if you're feeling that way right now in your job, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? Is your job serving you right now? Are there areas for you to grow? Because are you happy? Are you feeling fulfilled? Where can you see yourself in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years? Are you growing both personally and professionally? Because sometimes it's not only about money while we take on jobs. We want to take on jobs also because we want to make a difference, right? So I really want you to ask yourself these questions. And if you are in that position, then I want you to know that It's okay if you're feeling those ways. It's good. It's part of the identification process, the acknowledgement process of a problem or issue or concern that you may have on your mind and the state that you're in. And then if the question is that right now this is okay and I see myself growing in 3 years, in 5 years, that's all right. That's fine. Keep on loving what you're doing. But if the answer is no, you're feeling miserable, you know that there's more that you can do, you know you have the talents and the skills, you know you can be and become so much more than just that job title, and you know that you want to navigate the workplace and find a way how you can better position yourself to be recognized on the job, to show your talent, to show the value that you're providing on the job, in order to set yourself up for a promotion, but you're just not sure how to do it, because every time you think about doing something, it's like something keeps holding you back, like pulling you back, like pulling you back. And that's where your fears and your self-doubt come into play. But if only you would stretch out of your comfort zone and start doing research and starting looking in different ways in which you can better position yourself, whether it's that you're going to invest time, energy, or money, which are the three big things: time, energy, or money. If you're not willing to invest in a mentor or coach, then the next thing is time and energy. Time and energy. So are you going to set aside that time in the nights or in the evenings or on your lunch breaks or on the weekend, where you're going to start doing the necessary required research in how it is that you're going to help yourself to level up in your job? Because we can say that we want so many different things in life, but a lot of us are not willing to work for it. We're not willing to do the research. We're not willing to invest time and money and energy. We want all these things, but we're not willing to do these things that's required of us to do. So all of this is a part of your fear story. So I want to leave you with a few things, actionable things that you can do, because I don't like just talking theory. I talk about my personal experience whenever I see that it's necessary to bring something up, in hopes that it will help you to reflect, or it will bring to the forefront of your mind things that you have experienced or gone through, and how it is that my story can help you to motivate you and inspire you, and you can get what you need to get out of it in order to get you to the next step, to the next level. All right. So some of the things that you can do when you're faced with your own fear story, and when you're feeling that self-doubt, that anxiety, that fear that's holding you stuck and uncertain and crippling you, the first thing that I would say for you to do is start breathing. Breathe. Take a deep breath. Start breathing. Because the minute that you start breathing and you start taking the breath, you'll realize that you're alive. And you gotta give thanks that you're alive and you're able to breathe. You're able to feel those emotions of fear, of anxiety, right? Breathing is one of the tools to assist you in overcoming fear. If it's the first step, I would say the breath. The second one I would say is gratitude. Gratitude. Because it means that you're alive and you're not dead. And as crazy as this may seem, and as simple as it may seem, put this into action and you will see what I'm saying to you. I know it sounds kooky. The breath is important. Gratitude is important when you're faced with fear. Because if you're thinking of reframing fear to be more positive and not just negative, then you'll be grateful, because so many other people don't have the opportunity to feel that excitement or that doubt of wanting to do something but not really knowing what to do with that emotion, right? So breathing is one, gratitude is the other. The second or the third thing, depending if you want gratitude to be the second one, but it's one and the same. Once you're breathing, you should be thankful. The second one, then I would say, is a change your physical state. A lot of times our physical state determines our motivation to do things. I'm going to say that again. A lot of times our physical state determines our motivation to do things. And so when you find yourself in fear, in that funky state, where either you're just feeling blah, I use that word blah a lot. When you're just feeling like blah or meh, or you just don't know what to do, I challenge you to change your physical state. I challenge you to start getting up and to move your body. Whether if you're at work at a desk or you're able to walk around at work, get up, do some jumping jacks. That will ultimately speed up your heart rate, and it will automatically change your state, and it will change your emotional state just like that, your physiology, right? If you can walk around, speed walking, that's another thing. Try to do something, stretches. Getting the body active is key also when you're faced with fears and self-doubts, and when you are feeling uninspired, unmotivated. The third thing I would say is that don't take things so personally, right? And I know that depending on what it is that you're faced with, it's sometimes hard. And I can't use that example of not taking things personally. But if you're in a situation where your fear story is kicking in, and it's a matter of you reframing that thought and that feeling and shifting it to be more positive and looking at the possibilities, imagining the possibilities, once you take that action, that behavior, then you will start feeling better. You will start feeling better especially when you're not taking it personally. And when you start telling yourself and believing that, you know what, even though it may go this way or that way or 10 million ways, I'm not going to take it personally. Because the most important thing here is that I have acted, and I need to give myself a pat on the back, a clap, a victory, jump, because you've taken action. And a lot of people are like, they don't want to do that, because if things don't go right once they take that action, then they go right back into that shell, and the belief is that it doesn't make any sense. I try again because the last time I tried, I failed. And then they add to their fear story in a negative way. I don't want you to do that. You have to take action, and no matter the outcome, you have to give yourself kudos for taking action. The fourth thing I would say is that you want to say to your little voice, thank you. Remember earlier on, I spoke about that inner critic, the amygdala? And that inner critic, those thoughts will most of the time tell you negative things. And a lot of those negative thoughts are personal to you, or the fear stories that you've taken on from society, from your parents, from school, and also from yourself, the ones that you have made up yourself, to tell yourself that this cannot be, I can't do this, I can't become this person, I can't come on video and live and talk to people. I don't know how she does it, but I know I can't do it because I'm nervous, I'm fearful, I feel like I don't have anything to say. You want to say to that voice, hi voice, I identify you, I acknowledge you, but guess what? I am going to act despite whatever you're saying. So you know what? You better have a seat over there. Thank you. Boom. Do the action. Just like that. Simple as that. And I'm not saying that in every situation it's going to be easy, but over time, it's like when you go to the gym, and I'm not a weightlifter, but think about when you go to the gym, or if you think about the idea of people going to the gym and lifting weight. When they first start, they're probably only lifting a few pounds, right? Probably 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And then gradually over time, they can lift 50 pounds. Some people can lift, 100 pounds or more, or even more than that, right? So think of acknowledging your fear, identifying, acknowledging, and acting despite of the response, the results, the outcomes, as building a muscle. Building a muscle. Each time it gets better, each time it gets easier, once you are self-aware enough to identify them and go through that fear process and use some of those tools that I have provided in terms of your fear story, right? And I also want you to know too, drinking a lot of water helps to relieve your anxiety, to relieve your emotion. And the other thing that I want you to say is that it gets easier. Going back to building a muscle, it gets easier. And you'll be surprised that a lot of people don't want you to fail. You're thinking in your head that people want you to fail, or the next person is jealous of you, or the next person is saying this and that about you. But a lot of people want you to succeed, because once you succeed, it gives them permission for them to go after their goals and to succeed as well. Think about it that way. So the whole idea of kicking fear to the side is really reframing fear. And what does fear mean to you? What does it look like in your life? How does it present itself? How does it present itself? What are your thoughts and your feelings that arises because of that fear experience, those thoughts, and how it is that you're going to identify, acknowledge it, and how it is that you're going to reframe it and take the action, reframing it to a positive outcome and take the action anyway, despite, which is the behavior, the implementation of where it is you're going to speak up in meetings, you're going to try on something new, you're going to finally sit down and have that conversation with your family, with your spouse, or you're going to start doing a research, you're going to start putting yourself out there some more to stretch outside of your comfort zone. Or if it's that you're going to introduce yourself to one of your execs on the job and say, hi, my name is Raquel, I work in that department, it's a pleasure to meet you, nice to see you, I hope that I can have a meeting with you sometime to just tell you a little bit about my job and my function, what I'm responsible for doing here, and how I can see that this company can be doing much better. And I hope that you have 5 minutes that I can schedule a time to sit down and speak with you. And then the results is whether that exec wants to sit down and meet with you or not. He or she may say, right now is not a good time, but another time. But I guarantee if they keep seeing you, they will be inviting you for a meeting. So that's an example. So in recapping, and there are so many other tools to overcoming fear and kicking it, but that's the essential mindset I want you to have and to develop, and it happens over time in terms of the development of it, is that you want to be able to identify your fear story and kick it to the curb. Say, hello fear, I see you, thank you, bye, but I'm going to act anyway in achieving my goals, whether that is in the area of your career, you want to start a business, grow your business, in building your meaningful relationships. So I hope this was helpful. I want to start doing more of these lives, and I just have to rearrange my schedule so that I can do them. For right now, it probably will be spontaneous, but I hope that you've gotten value out of this tonight. And if you are just watching the replay, hi again, my name is Raquel Walters. I'm a 2-time best-selling author of the book Ideal Career, Ideal Life Strategies to Live Your Life Fearlessly, as well as Faith Forward, Intimate Stories to Propel You Forward or to Move You Forward. And I'm also a career and relationship strategist. I also consult typically with millennials, men and women who are working in corporate, who want to navigate the workplace, to level up in their job, their career, or even to start and grow a business. So I hope that this fear story was inspiring for you, and you have gotten practical tools that you can use to start changing your state, identifying your fears, and to act anyway, and start going on that mission of achieving your goals, because you deserve it. You're so worthy. You deserve it. You have all the talents within you, and you just need to act. You just need to make one decision, and that is reframing your fear story So love and light, guys, and I hope to talk to you soon. And if you're a bit curious of me, you can head over to RaquelWalters.com to learn more about me, and you can sign up for my 3-part video cocktail series where I speak about clarity, how to get clarity and success in the area of your job and your career by going to RaquelWalters.com/3-part cocktail. Enter in your email and you can watch the videos right away. So love and light, I hope you have a beautiful Saturday evening, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye over here on Facebook.